Well, Ford just dropped another bomb on the EV market, saying that they are instead going to focus on making hybrid cars instead of battery-powered electric vehicles because EVs pretty much suck and they don't sell. That's why capitalism is kind of taking care of this. The problem is, though, that the Biden and Harris administration is so committed to EVs, or so they say. Here is Ford's announcement about this. And you have to really read between the lines to realize what Ford is trying to say here is that they're trying to shift away from EVs and focus on hybrids for several reasons. We've covered this before. For instance, remember this Consumer Reports article from 2023 that talked about what is the most reliable car, what's in the shop the least, who has the more problems with what. They found that EVs between 2021 and 2023 encountered nearly 80% more problems than vehicles that were propelled by internal combustion engines. Like, that's a lot, you guys. But take a look there. It shows that hybrid cars perform quite well. People actually like them. But it's interesting to note the difference. Take a look at this chart a little bit closer. The difference between plug-in hybrids, which seem to sort of be the worst of both worlds, and non-plug-in hybrids, which perform quite well because they seem to be the best of both worlds. Clayton is a new owner of one of those hybrids, not a plug-in hybrid. I would say happy owner of those, right?
Happy, yes, very happy.
Do you want to talk about your truck at all?
No, but I'm just
okay. You just like it?
I just like it. I like that. Yeah, it's got gas.
You're
and
a man.
I'm a man. I got a truck.
Plaid. Okay, just thought I'd give you a little testosterone.
Just shot a
Beard's
squirrel.
coming.
No.
No squirrels were killed in the preparation for this segment. Okay, also, people will buy hybrids, whereas they just simply refuse to buy electric vehicles. Recall last year, a group of dealers begged the Biden administration to pump the brakes on EV mandates. This man said that dealers have up to a year of inventory and they just can't sell it. Recall how he explained this to CNBC.
Still can't sell it. Consumer doesn't want it. The consumer's in fear over the infrastructure. The infrastructure is not there. The White House and the Biden administration and got way out over its skis with this mandate, and the consumer has to buy into it, and they're not. And the problem that exists now is, they force the manufacturers to spend all this money to build these plants and produce these vehicles, but the consumers aren't buying into it. They're afraid of range. They're afraid of where they're going to charge. And we're not talking about, listen, Tesla is a vanity purchase. People have to have a Tesla. They have a second vehicle. Most people can't afford the first vehicle, never mind the second vehicle. And these people are coming out to the dealerships and they're buying these vehicles and they're afraid. These are average working American people. They're putting their families in the car. Moms are driving their kids to school. Dads have to get to work. And, if they have to charge on the road and it takes 30 minutes to charge.
Okay, he goes on to talk about how there was a brand new electric F-150, that's a truck with 25 miles on it, was marked down to $7,000 and it still wouldn't sell. A brand new Ford truck, but people don't want it because it's electric. That's a $20,000 discount. So it's no wonder now that Ford says that they just can't afford to make the cars that don't sell. Even with government subsidies, Ford is willing to take this loss. Here, they said that they're taking a non-cash charge of about $400 million to write off certain products that they've decided not to make, such as planned all-electric 3-row SUVs, and they just won't do it anymore. Also, they say that it'll cost them another $1.5 billion to shift away from production of EVs. Now, we saw about 2 years ago when Jeep announced that they were going to start making EVs, they had to shift their plants off to Mexico. Ford at least is saying, look, we can do this, but we're going to make hybrids in the U.S. that will lessen our dependence on foreign exports, and these are cars we can sell. So it will eventually be good for the economy, especially because, if you're buying this, that gas is bad for the environment, even though that has not been proven through environmental models. I can go on that tangent right now, but I'm going to save you that. If you want that data, I will send it to you. The problem, though, is that the Biden administration is still full steam ahead on EV requirements, and new EPA rules will require 56% of all new cars on the road to be electric vehicles by 2032. So what will happen when that requirement is in place, but automakers don't want to make them because they can't sell them, no one wants to buy them, that mandate will be worth nothing. We'll have no cars at all. Also, the Biden administration has done a crap job of building out all those charging stations that they promised that they would build. The infrastructure bill included $7.5 billion. That's spent money, taxpayer money spent. They said they're going to build 500,000 public charging stations for EVs across the country. But guess how many guess how many they've actually built. Anybody know?
Charging stations, the Biden administration, 8 of them.
They've built 8.
8.
They've built exactly 8. They were supposed to build 500,000.
That's just a little, around about $1 billion, a little under $1 billion per. I mean,
yeah.
What do they run those with? Like, what kind of Star Trek technology is installed in those charging stations?
Oh, they're
Could you imagine
awful.
If in 2032, going to a station to charge, the lines, you'd have to wait a half an hour in line for one car to move forward? Like, it would be insane the amount of time we would spend waiting to charge our vehicles.
And it's expensive. I saw a meme recently where a guy charged a Tesla truck and it was $80. The woman's like, I filled my tank for $60. Like, why do I? Yeah. And it took 5 minutes and not an hour and a half.
I filled my truck for like $40 the other day
at Costco.
Mm-hmm. I mean, full $40.
Yeah.
$80 for a freaking electric charge?
Right.
Are you kidding me?
I know, it's wild. Now, think for a second about these 8 EV stations that we as the taxpayers have bought. Can we put that back on the screen while we think about this? We've spent, the previous one. Yeah, about, like Philip did the math, about $1 billion per station that we've built in 2.5 years. Meanwhile, we've bought Ukraine F-16 jets, missile launchers. We built an entire pier in Gaza that was then destroyed a few weeks later. But when it comes to fulfilling promises at home, we are short 499,992 EV stations, probably in part due because EV stations require solid power grids to charge cars. Most states and municipalities just don't have that. They lie to us when they say it will be easy as pie to just charge everybody's car. Clearly it's not, especially because we don't have nuclear power anymore especially in California. These are the kind of straight talk details we should want from politicians saying, we'd like to do this, but the math doesn't add up. And so we're going to have to rethink it and look at the actual climate models that show us why we may or may not want to do that. But that's not what we're getting from Kamala Harris.
Does that mean that? Okay, sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, does that mean we're going to get refunds then when they finally realize this isn't going to work? Are they going to refund us that money that we gave them to build these 8 stations?
Yeah.
Probably not. I would like to write that down on my taxes, but most likely not. Now, Kamala Harris has not been very forthcoming on her climate strategy, but the New York Times said that her strategy is to equate climate change with freedom. This is some truly dizzying propaganda that I can't quite get my head around, but they're saying that this is her campaign strategy. She wants to sort of recapture the freedom line from Republicans, as in the freedom to breathe clean air, the freedom to fight climate change. They're saying fighting climate change is patriotic, even though she has not offered any real policies at all for fighting climate change. She just wants you to think of it in an empowering yet nebulous kind of way. Well, how are you going to do that? I'm going to do it. That's what she's saying, basically. Well, I'm confused by this because you are currently free to fight for climate change as much as you want. To your liberal heart's content, you can do it. You should do your homework if you do it and know what you're talking about, but you are free to do it. The conversation says that this is a tactic, that she's being vague as a tactic. That's kind of funny. I would say she's being vague on purpose because she is vague, not tactic.
Because she's an idiot.
Yeah, there's a bit of a, vapidness there when it comes to the substance and the study. Like, what then? What do you believe about climate change? Where have we got it right? Where have we got it wrong? And where do we not know yet? They're saying, oh, she's just not telling us because it's a tactic. It's like she's got a rabbit in her hat. She's got something in her back pocket.
Going to get surgery and your doctor's like, I'm not going to tell you exactly what I'm going to do. We're just going to knock you out and then we're just going to do it.
I'm going to fix it. Don't you worry your pretty little head. I'd say that's a little patronizing, but they're saying that that's, ooh, wait and see what she's got about climate change. But at least in the case of Ford, what we see here is capitalism taking care of something that does not actually improve the marketplace. We won't see EVs if they don't sell and they're not better for the environment as long as capitalism is still allowed, which may not be for very much longer because liberals hate it. So let me know what you think of this EV and Kamala's super vague and exciting climate policy. Are you in for it? Are you waiting with bated breath like I am? Let me know.
Darlene in our chat has a comment. Darlene Bradley says they haven't even mentioned the cost of replacing the battery or how those will be disposed of. Yeah, the cost of replacing those batteries is like the cost of putting in a new car.
And we've talked about all of the components that go into an EV and how there's so many more mined earth minerals. There's no proof that this is better for the environment in any form or fashion. Again, I refer you to the interview we did with the author of Cobalt Red, just about how awful it is that we have all of these cobalt-filled batteries and are living our nice, suburban life while people are literally being buried alive and getting cancer in Congo. So study more is what I'd like to say before you get super excited about your EV.